This one is a cube root equation, but the process is still the same. So I need to isolate the radical first. This one has a -4 being multiplied by that cube root of 12x. So to isolate it, I'm going to be dividing both sides by a -4. So when I do that on the left, that's going to give me cube root of 12x. On the right, 24 divided by -4 is -6. Now I need to raise both sides of the equation to an appropriate power. This one is a cube root, so the index number is a 3. So to undo that, I would need to raise to the third power. So the effect of that on the left side of the equation is the radical and the power cancel because they are inverse operations. So that would give me 12x is equal to, and then I've got -6 cubed. I do know what the answer to that is, but I think it would actually be more helpful if I just left it as -6 times 6 times 6. I know that -6 cubed is going to be a negative result, so I can just write that negative one time. Now if I divide both sides of the equation by 12, that would be the next inverse operation. Then on the left side, I just have x, so I've solved for x. And on the right side, I can actually do some canceling rather than trying to figure out what 6 times 6 times 6 is. So I could say, well, 6 and 12, I can take a 6 out of both of those. That would leave a 1 in the numerator and a 2 in the denominator. But then I could cancel again because 6 and 2 have a 2 in common. So when I do that, that leaves a 1 in the denominator, and it would leave a 3 in the numerator there. So now all I have left is a -6 times 3 in the numerator, and so that would be -18. You would get the same result if you actually multiplied -6 times itself 3 times and then divided that result by 12. I just think the calculations are a little bit easier if we do it this way. All right, now we do need to check for extraneous solutions. So we're going to check our answer now. When you do that, you're going to put it back into the original equation. So in my original equation, I would have -4 times the cube root of 12 times -18 equals 24. As I mentioned on the last one, when you're checking, you cannot move anything across the equal sign. So we're not using any algebra for this. I'm going to rewrite that. So 12, -18, and then my cube root. All right. So the first thing I would need to calculate here on the left side would be that 12 times -18 inside the radical. My pen is lagging again. So let's see, 12 times an 18 would be a negative number. And then 8 times 2 is 16. So I'm going to write down 6. I'm going to hold the 1 in my mind. Then the outside product is 18, or sorry, 8 inside is 2. So 8 plus 2 is 10, plus 1 would be 11. And then 1 times 1 is 1, plus 1 is 2. So cube root of -216 now. Now the cube root of -216, if I just had to guess, since the last number of this is a 6, I would guess that it probably would have to be 6. And in fact, it is 6. Now it's going to be a -6. You can multiply a negative number times itself 3 times and get a negative result. So if this had said a square root of -216, then I would have to say that that was not a real solution because that's not possible. But a cube root of a negative number is possible. Okay, so that brings us to -4 times -6 is 24. That's far enough for me to tell that it is in fact true. Those two sides are equal to each other. Now you try the next one on the Google form.